Mailbag Day. Here we are.
Here we are, Mailbag Mondays every Tuesday.
What a week. Let's just even start this mailbag with saying thank you so much for all the interaction to all of you. And we apologize in advance because I know that we're not going to get to the majority of your comments and questions. We've had the biggest week in walk-off history here, right?
Yeah, it's easy to say.
Yeah. We're at almost 5,000 views and listens on Friday's episode, which, let me tell you, is like, what, 5 times higher than we've hit in the past?
Yeah, I mean, when we first started doing this, we had a very clear goal in mind of every single time we had a podcast, we were going to partner a guest interview with that episode because we didn't think anybody would care to hear our opinions otherwise.
Yes.
So, but we've separated those, and it's going good.
It's been a little humbling, definitely, to say the least. So thank you to everyone who has hit subscribe, who has hit liked, who has commented. It increases our algorithm,
Yep.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know anything about algorithms, but the amount of views and listens and comments and stuff that we're getting is pretty mind-blowing. So thank you to everyone. It is Tuesday, which means we are going to get to as many of these comments as we possibly can. And I know we've got a pile of them, so we won't waste too much time. You can, of course, follow us on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast. Adam runs the Instagram. That's the Walk Off Podcast. And you can, of course, get your podcast, your audio side, wherever you do that. So Google or Spotify or Apple, so on and so forth. A quick little tease here. We do have our interview with Samad Taylor that's going to be released on Thursday. And that was a great little interview there. Robert DiBernardo, his interview is up currently on the channel. He was a great chat. And if you have any sort of interest in sports psychology, I suggest that you take a listen to it because truly very insightful and very interesting just to listen to the behind the scenes stuff of what goes into the mental performance department. So we'll let you do that. Let's get into it, Adam. I'm Scott Belford, joined as always by the best co-host in the biz, Adam Mack. Let's do it, bud.
All right. Before we do that, I do just want to shout out our Patreon supporters. Out of appreciation for them. I know it's no disrespect from Scott, guys. Don't worry, he didn't take it. He's not being a dick. This is just new for us, so
yes,
it's something we're having to build a new habit around.
We're about a week into this, and it's been crazy. Every cast, we've gotten another 2 to 3 Patreons. So again,
it's been great.
Tip of the hat. It's crazy.
So quick rundown. Thanks to Shane, Joel, Owen, Josh, Jeremy, and Ian for supporting us on Patreon. All the love there. Thank you so much. And a quick one last reminder, we do have our fantasy baseball league that we are doing for this season. And the entry deadline for that is this Friday. So if you're interested in a fantasy baseball league with us, join the Discord, shoot any one of us a message and just say, hey, I'm interested, and we'll enter you in the draw. Scott, myself, plus Craig and Joel are going to be doing it, and then we're going to fill the rest in with a draw from Discord and stuff like that. So, okay, let's get to comments and questions now. So first one comes from Darren. It says, Nate Pearson's line from yesterday. 2 innings pitched, 0 hits, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. Talk me off this hype train. I dare you.
Derek, I will do no such thing. I'm on the hype train too, baby. Honestly, ever since we had Anthony Telford on, it would have been long toss 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And he talked about 8 days ago, and he talked about the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen guys that showed up at his shop. Of course, Ryan Baraki, Nate Pearson, who he has worked with since he was 14. And then Nate didn't go to Telford's training facility. Yeah, his training facility over the pandemic year. And his timing got a little off, and he came back, and they figured that they fixed his problem there. And man, did his mechanics ever look crisp yesterday. It was one thing that I even tweeted it out. I'm like, man, he is just even Lewis, who was on Long Toss yesterday, was like, it's so nice to see him looking at home plate and finishing with his eyes on the catcher. A big deal when you're trying to have the control that you need to be a major league pitcher. So I'm not going to squash any sort of hype on Nate Pearson. I really think this is a big year for him. I don't know where you're at, Adam, but I'm excited about
100%. Nate. I couldn't be higher on Nate. I mean, we talked a lot through the off season, and honestly a lot through the second half of last season about this being not necessarily a make or break year for Nate Pearson,
but an important year in his development for sure.
An important year, yeah, and definitely if he wants to be a starter with this organization this year, 2022, very important. Whether he takes the step towards being a starter or whether the team decides, you know what, we're going to use this guy out of the bullpen. And that's a big deal. I think he has value for the Jays in either location, but obviously more value in his bank account as a starter if he can make that work. So good luck to Nate. I'm very excited. You're excited?
Very excited. One thing I did wish to quickly touch on before we move on from this point is that Nate Pearson, it is early spring. This was his first time on the mound in a spring game, and he was hitting 97, 98. I mean, this is a guy who isn't even ramped up yet.
Yeah.
He's going to be throwing 100, 101 by early May, and it is exciting to see that.
One thing that I've always taken away from our talks with Telford is he's given a little bit of peek behind the curtains in terms of pitcher development and how, a lot of these kids that he works with and, these guys get to these different levels and with every organization or with every team they play with, there's always a pitching coach. And I'm not trying to say Pete Walker's the reason that Nate Pearson has struggled. We all love Pete Walker, but it seems like it's a pretty standard industry move for a pitching coach to take a guy who's pitching just fine and fix what's not broken, right? Want to put their stamp on him and say, that one tweak that I did, that's why he's successful or whatever the case may be, right? So I don't know. I'm optimistic. What I really liked about our talk with Telford last Sunday was that he got Danny Jansen in there too.
Yes.
And Danny Jansen, I think this is the point that I want to get to is having Danny Jansen in the workshop there too and working on those mechanical things and then really hammering it into Danny Jansen's head that this is the best Nate Pearson we can have, and just being able to keep Nate focused all season long on whatever those adjustments were that they spent this off season, kind of getting him refocused. And I don't know. I'm just encouraged that if he starts slipping or if someone in the bullpen or whatever is in Nate's ear, that Danny Jansen's gonna be like, hey, shut the fuck up. Let's just what to do. Let's go out there and throw bombs. I don't know. I'm just.
No, I think it's important to remember, too, that every single human, forget about ball players, connects differently with different people, right? And so, yes, Pete Walker is a little bit of a pitcher whisperer, and the amount of respect that Jays fans show him is incredible and should be shown, because he shows time and time again that he has the ability to connect with guys and to just do minute little changes that help the guy. I mean, we can show example after example, but the one that comes to mind is Jose Barrios and just eliminating his big over-the-head arm movement and making it more short and compact, and what a huge difference it made in his pitching at the end of the year. But there's also things to be said, so if we're going to look at Nate Pearson, why did he stop going to Anthony Telford in that pandemic year? And I think a big part of it was Telford's an old man.
Yeah.
He's not big on analytics. He has straight up said, who gives a shit about spin rate if you're not hitting your spot, right? And Big Nate is huge in analytics. He loves it, as a lot of the kids do. So if you have a guy who it's almost like your dad telling you something and you're like, shut up, Dad, I'm going to do it my way. And then a year goes by and you're like, oh, damn it, was he right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a little bit of what happened here. And I think that that's why Nate kind of went back to Telford. And obviously, the lockout, he wasn't allowed in the big league facility. So that kind of eliminated some options. I think it's why so many of those Jays bullpen arms wound up at Telford's facility, is that they were like, well, Nate's got an in with a guy who's got a place we can pitch. Like, let's do it. But anyways, we'll move on. But I am excited about Nate. I think Derek, feel free to get on the hype train. Enjoy it while it lasts. It might not. So celebrate these little victories.
That is the nature of sports, though, right? Enjoy the hype while it lasts. Enjoy the ride. I think we all enjoyed September, even though it had an unfortunate ending. But enjoy the hype with Chapman. Enjoy the hype with Vladdy. Enjoy all of it. It's a lot of fun. All right, so now we've got, we had half a dozen people corrected our pronunciation of Carlos Baerga. So,
Yes, Carlos Baerga. We're getting it right this time, gang.
We're getting it right. We mess up names all the time.
We do. By the way, I did want to just mention thank you for correcting us. Literally, everyone who corrected us, they weren't even dicks about it. They were like, hey, guys, just so you know, you sound like idiots. This is how you do it. They even did the, broke it up so that we could.
Yeah, it's phonetically spelled out like in a
phonetically
dictionary.
spelled for us. So, yes, thank you to all of you who corrected us. We do appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Of course, anyone in Discord knows I get roasted all the time for my pronunciation of John Heyman's name.
Yes.
I call him John Hyman one time, and all of a sudden it's hashtag Hyman on every freaking news report that gets shared. So
I do love our Discord for the ball busting.
Yeah.
I know they get both of us pretty good a couple times, so
definitely
it's fun.
All right, so next one comes from Ramirez, who was commenting on our recent interview with Dr. Robert DiBernardo.
Right.
So it says, thanks for finding all these interesting people to interview. Unsure how much the language barrier would be a factor, but I would love it if you miraculously were able to contact Munenori Kawasaki and have a brief
nice
interview to see what he's up to now and what his favorite memories are from Toronto. Also, let him know that we love him and miss him. So, of course, a fan favorite from, 5-6 years ago?
Yeah.
Was he with that 2017, 2016 Donaldson Batista team?
Yeah, he was with the team during those exciting years in 15-16. Of course, his interviews were fantastic. We all remember him talking about the Bush Party. He's going to the Bush Party. I am Japanese. All very quotable stuff from Munenori Kawasaki. That's a very cool idea. I've never thought of that. So maybe we will send him some messages, see if we can get him on the show. There might be a language barrier.
There might be. All right, next one, comment on the same interview with DiBernardo. This was a great discussion on an often ignored aspect of the game. Great work as always. When are you guys going to blow up and become famous? The quality of your work is as good as anyone on the platform. So that's from Scott Carter. Thank you, Scott.
Aw, that's really nice.
Words.
Yeah, thanks, man.
We're having a lot of fun with it too. And the next one comes from not Scott Carter's brother. We've clarified this mistake before, but Adam Carter. Just a coincidence on the last name there. It doesn't make sense for the Jays to trade for Jose Ramirez. Kevin Biggio, when healthy, you're going to love this hot take, Scott. Kevin Biggio, when healthy, could hit 25 to 30 home runs and play second with okay defense. What would Ramirez do? Maybe 30, 35 home runs? And probably defense at second would be a little above average since he's a third baseman. The cost would be 3 or 4 of the team's top 10 prospects, and a little bit of an upgrade isn't worth the cost.
Adam Carter with a take as hot as the sun. Look at that. That is the hottest take I may have heard in a month.
It is oozing respect for Kevin Biggio to say that only a slight downgrade from Jose Ramirez would be Kevin Biggio.
Okay, so number one, Adam, thank you for your comment. I respectfully disagree with this take. I think that Kevin Biggio isn't even in the same realm as Jose Ramirez personally. Ramirez truly is one of I would say he's maybe a top 10 player in all of the league. And listen, I do love Kevin Biggio. Adam, you and I have been on the Biggio train all
Mm-hmm.
along, even when he was struggling mightily last year. We were a couple of the guys being like, now hold on.
Mm-hmm.
His 2019 and his 2020 proves that he's a guy with a lot of discipline at the plate, a guy who can get on base, high on base percentage. This is a dude that helps the team because of his positional versatility. But to put him even in the same breath as Jose Ramirez, I think, is way off base. Personally, I don't think Kevin Biggio has 25 to 30 home run power, even if he is healthy and even if he's on his game. I think the best case scenario for Kevin Biggio is 15 home runs, a on base percentage of around 380, 390. He recaptures that plate discipline that made him so damn valuable in 2019 and 2020. But if we're just going to look at Jose Ramirez's numbers and the idea that he wouldn't also be an elite defender at second base, moving from the hot corner, it may take him a month to truly get comfortable at the position. But Jose Ramirez has played second base before. This isn't the moon to him. This isn't Kevin Biggio at third base. I just think that if you can get Ramirez, you're going to need to pay for him, but it's going to make this team the Los Angeles Dodgers of the American League.
Yeah, tough to argue. I think you summed it up pretty well with all the details there. I mean, I love Biggio as maybe more than the next guy. Like I was going to say as much as the next guy, but I have above average support for Kevin Biggio. He's definitely not Jose Ramirez. Um,
One thing I will say about Adam Carter's take here is that it is an interesting idea of looking like how much better would they be? And would that increase in the improvement at second base be worth what they would need to give up? And that is absolutely something that the front office for the Blue Jays is taking into account. Of course it is, especially if you're looking at Espinal and Biggio kind of tag teaming that second base position, which is what it looks like they will be doing, which is a righty-lefty split. So that's kind of nice. And obviously Jose Ramirez being a switch hitter, so you do kind of have that ability to, switch hit with two guys with Espinal and Biggio. Biggio does have a ton of positional versatility. I don't know. Jose Ramirez, guys.
yeah, I mean, it is for me. The only question with Jose Ramirez is it worth the cost?
Yes.
As Adam Carter puts at the end of his comment there,
Yes.
and that is really what it all comes down to, right? But I mean, I can't believe.
Baseball Jen said it best yesterday, right? She's like, prospects are a roll of the dice, flags fly
heart.
forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I can't. I just want to defend Biggio on this take, but Jose Ramirez is elite.
It's too hot even for you.
It's too hot even for me. All right, let's move on here. So this one comes from Jay Clarkey. With the extra year of control, rather than Jose Ramirez, would it be wiser to go after Ketel? Oh, I'm going to mess this one up. Roast me in the comments. Kettle?
No, you were right with Ketel. Ketel Marte. You
Ketel
had it.
Marte. Oh,
Doubted
man.
yourself,
I'm
Adam.
overthinking things. I double clutched and I threw it into the stands. God damn it. There's a shout out to Kevin Biggio. Yeah. Would the cost be as much? I know it would still be a sky high ask. So Marte, let's just go with that. An extra year of control. So Jose Ramirez, 2 years of control is a big reason that there's so much ask. Why we'd have to pay so much to get him. Now Marte, I don't think quite as good, but 3 years of team control, real value there. in
100%.
trade discussions. So,
and I mean, Jose Ramirez slated to make $12 million this year, 14 next. Ketel Marte right around the $6 million mark. He is arbitration eligible for those last 2 years, so it will increase from there. However, this is a guy on the Arizona Diamondbacks that is elite. He's an elite player. And the Diamondbacks probably not going to compete for the next 3 years, but they've been doing some weird stuff too. They've been adding guys to this lineup, and maybe they do believe that they can start to climb out of the basement. I don't think the cost is going to be more to get Marte than it would be Ramirez. However, it's probably right on par. That extra year of control is a big deal. Marte is a guy that when we both, at the end of the season, after 2021 ended, we each had that fun little thing where we're like, okay, if we could pick one guy for the Blue Jays to get in trade each, who would it be? And I know I picked Ketel Marte.
And I picked Chapman.
I love, there you go.
I didn't
looking
pick
good,
Chapman.
right?
No, I did not. Go ahead.
No. But like it's a really good fit for the Jays, especially with the fact that he plays center field and he plays second base. These are two places where they could use some depth, especially with George Springer and his injury history. I think that we've talked about this before, Adam, just that I truly believe the best situation for George Springer is for him to play center field 2/3 of the time this season and to DH the other 50 games. So if he's going to be in the lineup 150 games, I want to see him at center field 100 games, and then that way he is literally playing 100% of the games at center field in the playoffs, which is when you need George Springer the most. So I think having a guy like Ketel Marte who could split some time at second base and at center field would be incredibly valuable. So I'm all for it. Now, if we, as Blue Jays fans, think that he's going to cost less, I think we need to reevaluate that. I don't think he's going to cost any less than Jose Ramirez, personally.
It's amazing how much an extra year of control adjusts someone's price tag, hey?
Yeah.
So, Jose Ramirez, is he slightly better than Marte?
He's slightly better. He's a better player than
Marte. So Marte is basically just as good as Kevin Biggio then, if we're going with Adam Carter's scale of quality.
Ketel Marte is probably a top 100 player, right? Like he's an elite guy in the league. He's the best player on the Diamondbacks. Would he be the best player on the Jays? No.
That's all right. Most people wouldn't be the best player on the Jays.
Yeah.
Significant acquisition there with Matt Chapman, and I don't think anybody would claim he's the best player on the Blue Jays. So, all right, let's move on from that now, shall we? So this one comes in from Twitter. So this is Blue Jays or Bust DM'd us on Twitter and said,
"Oh right, yeah,
love what you guys were saying about Chapman being a boost to Ryu. Saw this tweet from Scott Mitchell, friend of the show, and thought I'd pass it along as it seems quite relevant. So here's the tweet from Scott Mitchell. Quite a bit of optimism around Blue Jays that Hyun Jin Ryu will rebound this year. Apparently he's in better shape this spring, not that he was out of shape last year, just improved. And the stuff has looked crisp. Sounds like he's pretty motivated after that 4.37 ERA.
Yeah, you love to hear that. And let's not kid ourselves. Ryu is a guy who has been an elite pitcher for the last 8 years. This is a dude who does not enjoy looking at a number like 4.37 as his ERA and has never had an ERA quite that high. He's a ground ball pitcher, a lefty, so a lot of those ground balls are induced to the left-hand side of the infield, and we've talked about this on the last couple casts, but yeah, Chapman being at third base and being the vacuum that he is, it's going to only improve Ryu, and that if he comes in to the 2022 season in better shape, more motivated, he doesn't have the aspect of his family being in Korea, he's going to be able to set up shop in Toronto. Now, remember one of the reasons why Hyun Jin Ryu signed with the Blue Jays in the 2020 offseason was because of the huge population of Koreans in Toronto. Koreatown in Toronto is a very cool and very bustling little place. There's all sorts of Korean culture there, something he hasn't been able to experience. He wanted to bring his wife to Toronto with him. And of course, that is not an option that presented itself over the last 2 years, especially with the pandemic and especially in 2021 with the Jays having 3 different home stadiums. So now, 2022, he's going to be able to bring his brand new baby girl, who's not even a year old yet.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yes, her and his wife are going to be able to set up in a condo or whatever in Toronto. They're going to be able to experience that culture. Happy wife, happy life. Like, I know it just seems so cliche, but it exists for a reason. And like, this is a guy who had to constantly be on Zoom to see his baby girl and his wife, knew that they were on the other side of the planet. So on top of all the other stress that the other Blue Jays players were dealing with, he had one more notch up. And as if that wasn't enough, he had what was it? 7 guys played third base for the Jays last year and had a combined 20 errors. And that's not even doing justice to how many errors and runs that third base actually cost the Jays last year.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if you start digging into the defensive metrics at third base for Toronto last year, you're literally pulling your hair out. So,
and that is something to point out too with the errors. Just when you see an error, it is something like a botched play, right?
Yes.
But it doesn't also take into account a play that the third baseman maybe dove for and was out of reach. That is not scored as an error, but that is potentially the kind of defense we're getting from Chapman, where he's not only not making errors, he's also making those plays with his big range that a typical third baseman that we've experienced in the past just isn't getting to. So,
like, Ryu is 34, but also he has never been a power guy. This isn't a dude who gets on the mound and is throwing 100 miles an hour. Never has been.
No.
He has always been a control guy with a varied range of pitches. And I think that everyone who's writing Ryu off as the guy who's going to be at the back end of this rotation, I don't see it. I think he's going to be right there at the top of the rotation. It's exciting to see how many number 1, 2, or 3 guys could be in this lineup in the starting rotation. But anyways, we can move on from there. I know we've touched on Ryu a few times over the last couple of days. So
very stacked rotation. You referred to Matt Chapman as a vacuum at third base. I play slow pitch, and I'm also referred to as a vacuum. Matt Chapman is a vacuum because he picks up everything on the ground. I am referred to as a vacuum because I suck. So moving on now, another one from Twitter. This is so Chef Bones Nova Scotia tweeted at us and said, "It's incredible that week after week the long toss episodes get better and better. Each one's better than the last. I'm also a huge fan of at baseball Jen. Loved hearing her insight. So knowledgeable of the game, and I love that I now have a new Blue Jays guy to follow at Jays Kid RHP. Let's go." So thank you for the kind words on long toss.
Yeah, that's so nice.
Thank you for Jen and Lewis for coming on and chatting ball with us.
Yeah, Jen was great. Looking forward to having her back. She was so insightful for sure. That episode, by the way, of Long Toss, we normally do it on Sundays, so we did it yesterday, and that is up currently. And I know that if you're a Blue Jays nerd, you'll definitely want to check it out. 2 hours of Blue Jays talk. So
definitely. We actually got like probably 7 or 8 comments that were pretty similar to that. I didn't want to go through the whole list and just really get a big ego on this, but appreciate the comments, and everybody seems to say that each week keeps getting better and better. So I don't know if that's just a comfort level or we're stepping on each other's toes less and less as we go. But if you have detailed insight onto why we're getting better, please let us know so that we can continue to improve, because we're just winging it and making it up as we go. So, all right, this next one comes from Randall, who says, just watched last night's long toss this morning. I laughed when Adam brought up the Luke Voigt fight with Rizzo. Was he just joking around or did he get belfed? I got belfed, and so
Okay, so
you jump in here. Okay.
this is what I'm talking about.
What belfed means?
Everyone in the Discord busts our balls whenever we make a mistake. Hyman is now Adams, and so last weekend, it's 1 a.m. I'm drunk in Jasper. I'm rolling through Twitter, and it says that Freddie Freeman is going to the Dodgers. Now, I, of course, take this. I screenshot it. I put it on Discord. This was before he actually did go to the Dodgers. And now whenever someone falls for one of those fake Twitter accounts, everyone in Discord's calling it getting belfed. I don't know if I like it.
Yeah. So if you fall for a fake Twitter account, Jeff Passon 69 on Twitter.com, then it's now a getting belfed. So
Yeah,
I got belfed.
I got had by MLB Trades with a Z, and everyone's like, "How did you not see the Z?" I'm like, "I stopped reading."
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I got belfed with that fake headline about Voigt and Rizzo having a fight.
Yeah.
All in good fun, though. All right, so a couple last ones to get to. Here's one's from Danny in China on Discord. Said, McGuire could be a Yankee when the new season starts. So Reese McGuire, catcher for the Blue Jays, could be a Yankee when the new season starts, as he will probably be put on waivers, and the Yankees will claim him because one of their catchers are hurt. And wait and see. So
That's an interesting take, and it very well could happen. I mean, the Blue Jays are going to need to figure something out at that catching position. They can't carry 3 catchers on the 40-man. Well, I shouldn't say they can't, but I don't think it benefits them to carry 3 catchers on the 40-man roster. How do you feel about that? Do you think that they're going to perhaps see if they can...
Let me read a follow-up comment. So this came from Joel on Discord. Responded with, that would be interesting. The other thing I don't like about that, though, is I think it would put a lot more pressure on Kirk to figure out how to be better defensively in a hurry. A lot of pressure on a 22-year-old. How do you feel about Kirk and Jansen as our 2 guys?
I think it's who you have to go with. No, I mean,
well, hey,
I truly believe Alejandro Kirk's bat is above average for the position he plays. He's a guy who hits for contact, which is something that this team lacks a little bit. He's not all about power. This is a dude who hits to all fields. My problem with Kirk is defense. My problem with Kirk is his foot speed. Who knows? The truth is this may all work itself out before decisions like this need to be made. I know that the Blue Jays front office is still very busy right now. They're still talking to a lot of different organizations. There are still some holes that need to be filled on this roster, and maybe Alejandro Kirk is a guy who holds value. And with the Blue Jays being so deep at that catching position, he could be a dude who is packaged in whatever deal to get whichever player to fill whatever hole. We'll see.
Okay, so Reese McGuire, left-handed bat.
Yeah.
All I hear,
most attractive attribute.
All I hear all the time is how valuable a left-handed bat is, and I'm sick of it. And now we're talking Alejandro Kirk, right-handed bat. Reese McGuire, left-handed bat. It's right there. If we're talking about balancing out this lineup, Reese McGuire had the best batting average of all of our catchers last year. Defensively, he's better than Kirk. Speed, he's better than Kirk. Lacks the power of a Danny Jansen. But I don't know why we're... Is it just the upside of Kirk because Kirk's younger?
Yeah. Well, and Kirk's bat is by far superior.
Do we need a? I don't know. Is it how much superior is it, Scott?
Well, it's not as close as Kevin Biggio and Jose Ramirez, but I
Well,
mean,
that's a dead heat. Let's be honest. No, but I just think that's an interesting discussion to have. Maybe not right now, but maybe we'll bring it up on Sunday or something when we have a little bit more time. But it feels like, I don't want to say a negligible difference in terms of their bat, but like if we're just talking about hitting for average in a pretty close to the same sample size last year, Kirk hit 242 and Reese McGuire hit 253, and he's a left-handed bat. And he's a left-handed bat. No.
Let's hold on 1 second here,
All
okay?
right.
There's a runner at second base. Game on the line.
Yep.
Who do you want at the plate? Do you want Alejandro Kirk or do you want Reese McGuire? Honest answer here.
Game on the line, I want a pinch hit.
Okay, Okay.
I want to bring in Jose Ramirez on his off day.
Okay.
What are we talking about here? Is that an out of an answer? I don't know. I guess you want Alejandro Kirk. Like, he could hit a home run at any minute, I suppose. But I don't know. What? I don't know, man. Ugh. Now I'm in a position of like defending left-handed bats, which I don't want to do. I'm just trying to point out how stupid it is, this argument of like a left-handed bat is so valuable. I would rather have Kirk too. That's kind of my point, is that I don't know. It's just I get so exhausted hearing all of this. Like, we need a left-handed bat, but let's fucking drop Reese McGuire. I don't know.
But we need an elite left-handed bat. This is what I keep saying. Like, you keep bringing up, like...
Sure. Like, whatever. We just need an extra elite bat would be nice. I don't fucking care what side of the plate they hit from.
I know you don't, and I hate this take of yours, but it's fine. We'll move on.
Let's move on. Fine. All right. So let's end with another frustrating note here.
This is literally the only argument you and I ever have. Normally, we're pretty on the same page.
pretty close, yes. So this next one and last one for the day comes in from Uncle Jer. So Bill Simmons has Cousin Sal. We have Uncle Jer. So this is my brother.
Yes.
It says, listening to Long Toss this morning, we talked about Vladdy, over-under, and 48 home runs this year. So 48 is what he hit last year. Is he going to have a better season home run-wise? 48, more or less. He says under, and then he sent me a list of the... This is tough to read. This is what he says. This is the list for age 22 of younger home runs. Or younger home runs. So basically it's a list of all the big home run seasons for guys 22 or younger. So Vladdy has the record with 48 last year. Eddie Matthews, 47. Joe DiMaggio, 46. Johnny Bench, 45. Juan Gonzalez, 43. Fernando Tatis, 42. Bryce Harper, 42. A-Rod, 42. Mel Ott, 42. He says, it's a great list to be on, but Juan Gonzalez had one season with 46 home runs. After that 43 he put up as a 22-year-old. A-Rod had a bunch of seasons with more, but he also did steroids. He says for everyone else on that list, that was the most home runs they ever hit in one season. So sadly, I'll say Vladdy under. I asked for a little bit further clarification. I said, do you think Vladdy has peaked then in terms of home runs anyways? Is this a career high 48 home runs for Vladdy? He says, I'm saying he may have. All those guys did. 48 is a big total. So, Scott, 48 home runs.
48
is that a career high for Vladdy at age 22?
I'm going the complete opposite way. I think not only is it not a career high, I think that he has 5 seasons with more home runs than 48. I think he's going to hit 50 this year. I think Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is maybe the most elite player that this Toronto Blue Jays team has ever seen. I don't think 48 is his peak. Honestly, if he doesn't hit 50 home runs this year, I'm going to be incredibly disappointed in him and want him traded off of this team. No, obviously, I mean, this is a really funny conversation to have because if he does hit 42 home runs this year, we're all still going to be chanting MVP at the Rogers Center, right? So it's pretty darn cool to have a guy with this much talent on the team, with this sort of pedigree that's just turning 23 years old. It's wild.
Yeah, it's I got to take the over as well. I think a lot more health is an issue, right? If he stays healthy, I think multiple 50 home run seasons. I think that the way baseball is going, I think tweaks are going to continue to be made to get more offense in the game, whether that's a change to the ball, whether that's a different sticky substance on the ball, whatever the case may be. I think that baseball is going to be working hard, and I'm talking MLB baseball. Big B baseball is going to be continuing to work hard behind the scenes to improve offense. So I can't foresee a situation, barring health issues, where Vladdy doesn't continue to be productive and more productive. Two guys on that list, by the way, Bryce Harper and Fernando Tatis, both very young. So, I mean, Tatis has lots of time. Sorry, Tatis Jr. has lots of time to still hit more than his career total as well. So, yeah, I think Vladdy...
I mean, Uncle Jer makes a good point. And I think that the point really is let's have realistic expectations of what we have seen happen in baseball over the last 100 years, which is when a guy hits as many home runs as Vladdy did last year at such a young age. And I don't think age even matters. Like, I think if you just go and look at how many guys have hit 48 home runs, it's just a big total, right?
Yeah.
And Vladdy got cold at the end of the year. We all thought he was going to hit 50 for sure last year, and he got a little cold. And I mean, when we say Vladdy got cold, he was still probably hitting 300 and a bomb or two a week, you know, like, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I like 48 led the league in home runs. Yeah. I think I feel like over the course of the next decade, like through the 2020s, I feel like we're going to see guys hitting 60. I'm not saying multiple guys are hitting 60, but I think 60, 62 is going to be realistic, and I think we're going to see 5 to 10 guys hitting 50 home runs every season. So I just think offense is going to go that way, and
which would be really interesting because, of course, we all know the controversy behind the steroid era, and that Ramirez hitting 62 is kind of the true cleanest 62 home runs that we've seen. And it would be kind of cool to see one of these kids, whether it's Vladdy or Acuna or Soto. I mean, the list of elite young talent in baseball right now is through the roof, and you got to love it for the game. Yeah. But I like that prediction. Maybe we do see somebody hit that 60 mark.
Who knows? All right, man. Well, that was a good mailbag. I had fun. Let's reconvene on Friday. I guess we forward to it. We have a Thursday interview that we should just remind people of.
Yes, so Samad Taylor, who will probably get his start at Buffalo this year. He was with AA New Hampshire last year. Had kind of a breakout season. So we sat down with him. Great interview, great chat. He had all sorts of great things to say. So definitely want to check that out on Thursday. That'll be in our conversations pull down on our YouTube page, or of course, wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks again, everybody, for listening. Really appreciate all the support over the last little while. All the new listeners. I mean, even when you were talking comments there were so many names I hadn't heard before. So love to hear it. Thank you so much for the interaction. You can follow us on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast. Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast. All the best, gang. We'll see you on Friday. Cheers.
Cheers.